Now, everyone dreams about moving to Florida, right? I mean, what do you expect? Palm trees, beaches, sunshine year-round. It sounds like a dream. And on paper, Stuart looks like the perfect hidden gem on the Treasure Coast. But here's what many people don't realize. Plenty of folks move here and it's actually end up regretting it. Not because Stuart's a bad place. I mean, it's gorgeous, but they just don't know what they're getting themselves into. And once you're here, it's hard to ignore some of the downsides. So today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the top regrets people have from moving to Stuart, Florida. Now listen, some of these are things you'll feel right away, right off the bat, but others you might not notice until about 6 months in. But all of them are worth knowing before you pack up and move here. So you know what? Let's get into it. Number one, the cost of living isn't what people expect. You'd think moving to Stuart means saving a ton compared to those big cities. And compared to New York and San Francisco and Boston, yeah, absolutely. But here's the catch. Stuart isn't the cheap hidden beach town that people imagine. So you know what? Let's talk about housing first. As of 2025, the median home price in Stuart is around $550,000. That's significantly higher than the national median and also higher than nearby Port St. Lucie, where you can still get a nice home for about $100,000 less. Now listen, I've had clients move here thinking their $500,000 budget would get them a waterfront bungalow, only to realize it might buy a small inland house or even a fixer-upper. Then there's insurance. Florida already has some of the highest homeowners insurance rates in the country, and along the coast, it's brutal. Flood zones, hurricane protection, wind damage, all of that stuff stacks up. I've personally seen clients around $4,000 all the way up to around $15,000 to $20,000 once per year just for coverage. That's even before property taxes. And you know what? Let's not forget about HOAs. Florida is synonymous for a lot of our gated communities, and a lot of those have HOAs. A lot of these neighborhoods with community pools and manicured lawns, you know what? They can run anywhere between $300 and $700 a month. Add on top of that mortgage, insurance, and utilities, and suddenly your affordable coastal lifestyle costs about the same as your old mortgage up north. Now, does that mean that Stuart's not affordable? Absolutely not. But you have to come in with realistic expectations. If you're comparing it to Palm Beach or Naples, Stuart will feel like an absolute bargain. But if you're comparing it to Port St. Lucie or inland towns, you'll definitely feel the sting. Now, number two, hurricanes and insurance nightmares. Let's be real, you guys. This is Florida and Stuart is right on the coast. Hurricanes aren't just a possibility. They are definitely a part of everyday life and everyday years here on the Treasure Coast. Now, most people know that before moving, but here's where the regret kicks in. It's not just the storms themselves. It's the preparation, the anxiety, and the aftermath. Even a tropical storm can knock out power for days. Generators sell out, gas stations run out of fuel, and every year you spend weeks watching the Weather Channel wondering if you should board up your windows. Now listen, I've seen it where the gas stations lines are so incredibly long and that people absolutely lose their mind. But one thing to remember is to stay calm. Then there's the insurance mess. Florida's homeowners insurance market has been in crisis for years. Companies are leaving, rates keep climbing up, and in some cases, people cannot even find coverage without going through Citizens, which is the state-backed insurer of last resort. Now, I've had clients who said they didn't mind the storms until they had to replace the roof or spend 6 months arguing with their insurance adjuster. That's when the regret typically sets in. Now, if you move here, just know hurricanes aren't a maybe, they're a lifestyle adjustment. You'll prepare every season whether or not a storm comes or not. Now, yes, a lot of us locals make a little bit fun of them that, how we prepare for them is going to the liquor store and having parties. This is all true, yes, but please make no mistake about it. Hurricanes are definitely a very, very part of our normal life every single summer. Now, moving on to number three, we have limited job opportunities. This one's a sneaky regret, especially for younger families. Stuart is amazing for retirees and remote workers. If your income comes from somewhere else, you're good, but if you're moving here expecting a booming job market, it's not quite like that. The local economy leans on healthcare, tourism, construction, and small businesses. There aren't big tech companies, finance hubs, or major corporate headquarters. That means if you're a young professional, your options can feel a little bit limited. Many people end up commuting either north to Port St. Lucie or south to Palm Beach County for those better job opportunities. And let's be honest, commuting an hour each way was not the lifestyle they imagined when moving to a small coastal town. Now listen, Port St. Lucie is not that far away, maybe 20-30 minutes from Stuart area, but Palm Beach can be a little bit further, and if you add in the traffic, it can be something to think about. So here's the deal. If you're retired, semi-retired, or remote, you'll love it. If you need a thriving job market, Stuart might leave you wanting just a little bit more. Number four is traffic bottlenecks and bridge dependence. Now listen, you guys, Stuart looks small on the map, but we've got one big quirk. We have a lot of bridges. The St. Lucie River cuts right through the area, and to get around, you rely on a handful of bridges like the Roosevelt Bridge. But here's here's the problem. If the bridge is under repair, traffic backs up like crazy. A 15-minute drive suddenly takes 45 minutes. And this isn't hypothetical. In 2020, inspectors found a crack in the Roosevelt Bridge and had to shut it down for weeks. The entire town was in gridlock. Now, of course, we made it work, but having said that, it was extremely difficult to make those normal routes. Now, it's not Miami traffic, but when half the country is funneling across one bridge, you feel it. So if you hate traffic, Stuart's layout will definitely test your patience. And let's not forget about the drawbridge. We have an old drawbridge down here, which is the old Roosevelt Bridge, which we all love. However, it's only a certain size and has to be open and closed to let some of the boats go underneath that have the big sails that are going through there. So you have to test your patience when you get stuck underneath that bridge, and it always happens when you're in a hurry. Let's talk about number 5, healthcare and specialized services. Healthcare is a huge factor, especially for retirees. Stuart has Cleveland Clinic, Martin Health, and it's a solid hospital, great for checkups, ER visits, and general care. But here's the catch. If you need truly specialized treatment, you're probably going to be driving. Advanced cancer treatment, cutting-edge heart surgery, pediatric specialists, most of that is in Palm Beach, Broward, or Miami. That means you're anywhere from an hour to 2 hours away. Now listen, we have some great doctors and a lot of great treatment here locally, but if you need something extremely specialized, you're probably going to have to drive. Now, for some people, that's a deal breaker, but I've seen retirees who move here expecting world-class healthcare in town, and they're frustrated when they realize how much traveling is required for specialized care. Now, like I said, we have amazing doctors and local people here. However, if you need something truly specialized, you might be traveling just a little bit. Now, number 6, small town equals small options. Stuart has that small town charm. It's why people love it. It's why people move here. You get that boutique shops, local restaurants, art festivals, waterfront dining. It feels just so incredibly cozy. However, if you're used to big city nightlife, you may regret how quiet it gets here. After 9 or 10 p.m., most of the town is shut down. You're not getting Miami clubs, Orlando nightlife, or Tampa concerts every single weekend. It's extremely quiet. Now, for some people, that's perfect. They don't want the chaos of city life, but I've seen plenty of newcomers say, I love Stuart, but after 6 months, I ran out of things to do. So it depends on you. If you like a slower pace, you'll love it. If you want constant entertainment, it might feel a little bit too sleepy. Now, don't get me wrong, you guys, we have some great downtown bars that do stay open quite late. However, if you're expecting to go bar hopping from one to the next to get tourism, to get, some dance clubs, it is not for you. However, that's the way most of us locals like it here, and we love that aspect of it. But if you're looking for a very healthy nightlife, Stuart might not be the place for you. Number 7 is tourism and seasonal crowds. Stuart is quiet in the summer, but come winter, the population nearly doubles. Snowbirds arrive, seasonal renters, tourists, restaurants that were easy to walk into in July suddenly have a 45-minute wait. Roads are busier, beaches are packed. But you know what? For some, it's fun. The town feels alive. Events are happening. There's a buzz in the air. But for others, it feels like the town completely changes. They've moved for peace and quiet, and suddenly it feels like everyone from New Jersey is in their grocery store. Some people do not like that at all. If you value consistency, this seasonal whiplash might feel like a regret. We have our snowbirds come down here, and it's typically the busiest between October and Easter, with the worst months being January, February, and March. Traffic backs up, horns start honking, and you can always joke around. I always joke around. You can tell people who are not from here because they honk their horns. Us locals here that live here, we do not honk our horns. So if it's something that you want to have just consistency, Stuart might not be it for you. 6 months out of the year, it's perfect and it's quiet. The other 6 months, it's definitely a lot more busy with a lot of our northern friends coming down here to spend the winters. Now, number 8 is bugs, heat, and humidity. This one sounds obvious. You've heard a million videos or seen a million things about this, but trust me, until you live it, you don't fully get it. Stuart is hot, humid, and that humidity brings friends. Mosquitoes, no-see-ums, palmetto bugs, termites, and mold. Now listen, no-see-ums are the most annoying things out there. They're called no-see-ums because you do not see them. I joke around, I call it is basically a mouth with wings, and in the mornings and in the early evenings, they can eat you absolutely alive. You'll run your AC nearly year-round, which means higher electric bills, and your evenings outside, bug spray on a screen patio is a guaranteed must. Now, I've had people move here in winter, fall in love with the weather, then regret it when July rolls around and they realize they can't sit outside without sweating buckets and swatting mosquitoes. Now listen, you guys, I always suggest people, if you are thinking, I'm talking to you, if you are thinking about moving here, make sure you please take a trip out here sometime in the summer months. Most people like to come out here in November, December, or January, and they realize how perfect the weather is. However, visit us in August or September and you will truly get a good understanding of how hot it is and how humid it is when we talk about it. It's not unlivable. People love it here. but if you're not used to subtropical weather, it's an absolute shock. Now, number 9 is education and schools. Now, for families, this is a make or break factor. Martin County schools overall rank above average in Florida, which is a plus, but not all schools are the same. Some neighborhoods are zoned for excellent schools, others for ones that struggle. I've seen families buy a home, then realize their kids are zoned for a school they're not the most thrilled about. That's a tough pill to swallow. Now, the lesson: do your homework before you move. Check greatschools.org or talk to locals. Understand the zoning maps, because it's one of those most important things that nothing creates regret faster than moving your family to a school district you didn't want. Now listen, here's the positivity of this. Martin County schools in our Treasure Coast in this past year have all received A grades. It is the first time that everybody here on our Treasure Coast has received A grades. Even Port St. Lucie, which has typically not been known for the best school systems, got A's as well. So the school systems here are fantastic. And if you've watched some of my other videos, that's one of the main reasons why we moved here. However, just be careful and check zoning maps to make sure that you are zoned for the school that you want to have. Now, number 10, waterfront living isn't always paradise. Everyone dreams of living on the water, waking up to boats in your backyard, watching sunsets over the lagoon, and it is absolutely beautiful. But here's the part that people regret. It's the maintenance. Now, salt air eats everything. Cars run faster, AC units corrode, metal fixtures in your house literally pit and tarnish. You'll spend more on upkeep than you expect than you would if you live away from the water. Now listen, flood insurance, it's way higher. Dock and seawall maintenance, it's not cheap. Even simple stuff like pressure washing the exterior, you'll do it way more often. Now, is it worth it? For many, yes. For me, absolutely. But you have to understand, waterfront living is stunning, but it's not carefree. It's a consistent maintenance lifestyle, and some people regret jumping into it, realizing that they don't know all the different maintenance aspects of it. So here's a suggestion. Talk to me about all the different things that you need to take into consideration if and when you buy a house on the water. I have a lot of people that know exactly what they're looking for and can tell you some of the small costs that you might not have been thinking of. Waterfront living is fantastic, yes, but you have to know what you're getting into before you make that move. So there you have it, the top regrets people have after moving to Stuart, Florida. Now listen, you guys, don't get me wrong, Stuart is absolutely incredible. I live here, I work here, I help families relocate here all the time, but it's not perfect. And if you move here expecting perfection, you'll definitely be disappointed. Now here's the key, you guys. The key is going in with open eyes. If you know the challenges, the cost of living, the hurricanes, the small town pace, and you still love the idea, then Stuart might be exactly where you belong. And if you're serious about moving here, reach out. I can help you avoid the mistakes most people make and find you the right home in the right neighborhood at the right price. Thank you guys so much for watching. Now listen, don't forget, please hit that subscribe button and that bell so you know I launch videos every week, and it'll give you an opportunity to see when the next one is. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, I will see you on the next one. Boom!